Pastor here and all of the members of our congregation, we want to welcome you to Baptist Grove Church. We ask you to please make yourselves feel at home. If you need the restroom or anything like that, it's in the back there in the vestibule where you came in. So we have some really important work to do tonight, and I know we're anxious to get started. So I will turn it over at this time to Father Taylor from St. Ambrose Episcopal Church.
Good evening. My name is Jamon Taylor. I serve as rector of St. Ambrose Episcopal Church in Southeast Raleigh, and I am a member of the strategy team. We are here. We meet at this level once every 3 or 4 years, and so it's exciting that we are together now with more than 46 institutions making one wake. I want to take this opportunity at the beginning to recognize our community partners from Chatham Estates Mobile Home Community in Cary. If you are a part of Chatham Estates Mobile Home Community in Cary, I just invite you to stand. Thank you so much. They turned out what seems to be well over 50, perhaps 60 people, at least a third of the group gathered here, and they are specific leaders that will help lead our Cary institutions to address housing justice issues in Cary. So thank you for your witness, thank you for your advocacy, and thank you for being here and a part of One Wake. Tonight's assembly is a meeting of One Wake's Countywide Leaders Caucus, One Wake's primary decision-making body that is made up of every core team from our institutional membership base. We are entering the second cycle after finishing our first cycle, which began at our launch in 2020. In 2016, we began the process of building relationships. 4 years later, we launched in 2020. We set our priorities and have been working for the past 3 years. So now we are entering the second round. We are 46 member institutions, including organizations, churches, mosques, and synagogues from across the county. And together we founded One Wake in 2020 because we realized that if we want to change, we need power. At our opening launch in October of 2020, as we were leading up to the launch, we met with a North Carolina elected official who represents the state of North Carolina, and we told this official that we expected to have at least 2,000 people at our founding assembly. This person looked at us and chuckled and said, I've been on a lot of Zoom meetings because we were in the pandemic. He said the most I'd ever seen in any online meeting is 800. And he said, I will believe it when I see it. And at that founding assembly, we had at least 3,000 people online. This is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Hip hop turns 50 this year. And so to quote Nas, all I can say is, made you look. Power is organized people and organized money, acting consistently and persistently in a clear agenda. We started in 2020 with Downtown South, a 150-acre, $2 billion complex that was being built just a half-mile upstream from a flood-prone area of Rochester Heights. And we fought the developer to get flood protection, and we got a community benefit agreement of $2.5 million grant matching fund to address flooding downstream. Made you look. Since then, we've organized and used our power to spend and to win $15 million in new affordable housing investment, $375,000 for the displaced mobile home park residents in Wake Forest, $9 million for a new affordable housing fund in Cary, $5 million to keep long-term and long-time homeowners in their homes from Wake County made you look. Why are we here? We are here because the last time we gathered was our annual meeting in March, when we committed to reorganize One Wake around a new grassroots agenda for change. Together, we committed to speak to 2,100 members, 2,100 members of our communities, to learn about the top pressures impacting our families, and also to identify leaders with the appetite to do something about it. Our purpose tonight is to hear the report on what we've learned this spring and to vote to prioritize what concerns we want One Wake to include in our next agenda. First, we will hear a report from our listening campaign and recommendations from the One Wake strategy team. Next, we will hear from One Wake leaders who will provide testimony to help us better understand each concern. Finally, we will caucus with other members of our institutions, and we will then vote about which concerns we want to see prioritized in One Wake's next agenda. I want to introduce Reverend Wes Spears Newsom, Associate Pastor of Greenwood Forest Baptist Church in Cary, North Carolina. He will report from the listening campaign to help clarify our vision and strategy for the next few years, so we continue to let our elected officials and corporations say, "Made you look."
Thank you, Father Taylor. As he said, I am Reverend Wes Spears Newsom from Greenwood Forest Baptist Church in Cary. 3 months ago, One Wake's County Leaders Caucus assembled for a meeting at Pleasant Grove Church in Cary. And we wanted to ratify a listening session campaign to identify the top pressures that are facing our communities and see if we had the leaders, most importantly, to address them. We begin our cycle of organizing, always with listening, because our agenda doesn't come from any political party, it doesn't come from any corporate interest, it doesn't come from any lobbyists, it comes from you. This is your agenda, not someone else's agenda. This is an agenda by the members of our institutions in One Wake. So at our annual meeting, we pledged to speak with 2,100 members of our institutions and our surrounding communities. In total, One Wake volunteer leaders have organized 137 separate listening sessions in their communities. In those sessions engaged so far, 1,693 people. I think we can give that a round of applause. That's 1,693 of us whose voices are not usually heard. That's 1,693 of us who these politicians, as Father Taylor suggested, how these business leaders don't normally hear from. That's 1,693 people who, until we established One Wake together, didn't have the seat at the table that we have now. So your voices matter, and they're worth celebrating. And I also think it is worth celebrating one of our institutions for organizing the most listening sessions and engaging the most people in their congregation. So can we give a round of applause to Christ the King Lutheran Church in Cary? Thank you all so much. During every listening session, the thing that we made sure to ask everyone is to list the top concerns that they feel are putting pressure on them and on their communities. So these general themes, these concerns that came out of these meetings, will not be surprising to many of you because many of you are feeling them. The first, the top concern mentioned 158 times, was housing. Mental health was mentioned as a top concern 66 times. Public transportation was mentioned as a top concern 46 times. So those top 3 issues were housing, mental health, and public transportation. Can you raise your hand if one of those affects you in this room? I think that's a lot of us. The next top 3 concerns were gun violence, named 32 times, education, also named 32 times, and jobs, named 17 times. In addition to these top concerns, there were a number of others in themes that were mentioned during our conversations. However, they were mentioned less frequently, and it's unlikely that we have the large base of people to take action on them. However, we've cataloged all of these responses and are saving them, and we'll be reviewing all of them for the rest of the summer. Also important to realize, I think, is that all of these issues intersect with each other. None of these issues exist apart from one another. And we'll say more on that soon. But this full report was sent out to everyone prior to this event, and we'll send it out again after this event is over to make sure you can read it in its entirety. Additionally, we had One Wake core teams meet a few weeks ago to hear the initial results of this campaign. And we asked them how we should conduct this meeting. And one of the things that core teams asked of the strategy team is for us to provide some recommendations and some guidance from where we sit, looking at a bird's eye view over what's going on. So we have a few recommendations. The first is keep it simple. We should listen to you. The strategy team recommends that One Wake prioritize 3 concerns from this list or less for the next agenda. In addition to those concerns that we're going to commit ourselves to tonight, we will also continue working on the things that we have already dedicated ourselves to in previous campaigns. Second, the strategy team recommends that the One Wake membership pay attention to those top 3 most felt concerns that you told each other. That includes housing, mental health, and public transportation. Each of these issues, we believe, could lead to 1 or more issue campaigns, and we've listed them on the printouts on the room over there that you'll be able to look at soon. But we also believe those issues are winnable, and that's important too. We know the power that we have, and we know the things that we can win, and we believe that these top 3 issues are winnable for us. Now, this recommendation is not binding, and I think that's important to understand. We give it to you because we were asked, but it is your vote tonight that determines what this agenda is going to be. Additionally, we recognize that these top 3 issues are interconnected with the next 3 issues that followed them. None of the pressures we feel, as I said, are isolated from one another. Gun violence is frequently a direct result of economic pressures which work on housing and transportation could alleviate. For example, education, especially now, I work with teenagers at my church and a lot of what I do, and education concerns that I have and they have right now are intimately tied together with their mental health, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Jobs, too, require stable housing and stable transportation, 2 of the top articulated issues in our listening campaign. Finally, the strategy team recommends that we keep our commitments and recommends that we continue over the rest of the summer to listen to reach our pledged goal of 2,100 people in this listening campaign. So far this spring, we've listened to 1,693 people, which is more than 2/3 of our goal. That leaves 407 people left. If we all listened to 10 people in each of our institutions that are represented here tonight, we'd be all done. So I think that's something very manageable for us to do. And we propose we use this second round of listening sessions to further engage our folks on reactions to the agenda that you're going to vote on tonight. As we listen to more people over the summer, take the agenda that you all create tonight and say, what do you think about this? Where does this intersect with your life? What would this mean for you? So in the next part of our agenda, we're going to ask every institution to caucus and to do two things: to vote on issues and to ratify continuing this listening session for the summer. But the first thing we're going to do is a little bit more listening. We have 5 people that we would like to hear from tonight who are leaders in our institutions that are present, and we would like you to hear from them. So the first person I would like to invite forward is Emilia Roblero from Chatham Estates.
Thank you. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Emilia Roblero. Soy residente de Kerry, vivo en Chatham Estate desde hace 16 años. Chatham Estate es un parque de casas movibles. Es una de la comunidad multiétnica donde hay 140 casas en Chatham Square. Tiene aproximadamente 40 negocios multiculturales. En muchas de las casas viven hasta 2 familias.
Good evening. My name is Emilia Roblero. I am a resident of Cary, and I have lived in Chatham Estates for 16 years. Chatham Estates is a multi-ethnic community of mobile home parks where there are 140 homes, and Chatham Square has approximately 40 multicultural businesses. Many of the homes have up to 2 families that live in them.
Muchos de mis vecinos llevan viviendo aquí a casi 30 años y en el parque es una de las últimas comunidades de viviendas asequibles de Kerry, como cual alquileres de $400 al mes. Hace poco el terreno se puso a la venta y hace unas semanas recibimos un aviso de que la venta se correctará en unas semanas.
So many of my neighbors have lived here for almost 30 years, and the park is one of the last affordable housing communities in Cary. We pay rent of about $400 a month. Recently, the land was put for sale, and a week ago, we did receive the notice that the sale will be finalized in a few weeks.
Trabajamos hoteles, construcción, cuidado de niños, cuidado de ancianos, servicio de limpieza, jardinería y otros tipos de trabajo de nuestros hijos. Van a las escuelas locales o acudimos a las iglesias locales. Compramos y comemos en comercios y restaurantes locales, contribuyendo a la economía de esta ciudad. Como tal, somos miembros de la comunidad de Kerry que contribuye al éxito y al proceso de la ciudad.
We work in hotels, construction, childcare, taking care of the elderly, cleaning, gardening, and other types of work. Our children go to the local schools, and we attend local churches. We shop and eat at local businesses and restaurants. We contribute to the tax base. As such, we are members of the Cary community, and we contribute to the success and the progress of this town.
Kerry está creciendo y cambiando. Vemos la expresión de nuevas urbanizaciones, nuevos centros comerciales en aumento del valor de la vivienda y el aumento de los impuestos de la gente muda aquí desde todo país. Estamos preocupados porque vemos claramente que nuestro vecindario está a punto de desaparecer. Cuando esto ocurra, ¿a dónde iremos? ¿Qué podremos pagar? Nuestras vidas están aquí en Cary. Es nuestro hogar.
Cary is growing and it's changing. We are seeing the explosion of new housing development, new shopping centers, rising home values, and rising taxes. People are moving here from all over the country. We are concerned because we clearly see that our neighborhood is on the verge of disappearing. When this happens, where will we go? What will we be able to afford? Our lives are here. Cary is our home.
Debido a estas situaciones, nos veremos obligados a mudarnos. Muchos quedaremos sin hogar, además de desagarrar a nuestros hijos de las escuelas y amigos. Nuestros hijos se enfrentan a ansiedad y a la depresión. No dejan de preocuparse por su futuro y por lo que serán de nosotros. Pueden que incluso perdamos nuestros trabajos.
Because of the situation, we're going to be forced to have to move out. We could even lose our homes. In addition to uprooting our children from their schools, they would have to leave their friends. Our children are facing so much anxiety and depression. They keep asking about their future and what's going to happen to us. We may even have to lose our jobs.
En el nombre de los residentes de Chatham State, les pedimos y agradecemos de atenta mano a su apoyo mientras nos enfrentamos a estos tiempos difíciles y a todos aquellos que necesitan viviendas y alquileres. No somos la única comunidad que se enfrenta a estos retos de vivienda.
On behalf of the residents of Chatham Estates, we ask and we thank you in advance for your support as we face these challenging times and all those in need of affordable housing, because we are not the only community that's facing these housing challenges.
Trabajaremos juntos, unidos y organizados para conseguir las oportunidades locales, preserven, mejoren y creen viviendas accesibles para todas. Gracias por su tiempo.
Let's work together, united and organized, to ensure that the local authorities preserve and create affordable housing for all. Thank you for your time.
Next, I would like to invite up Christopher Maines to speak about white flag needs in Wake County.
Good evening. My name is Christopher Maines. I would like to say thank you for hearing that, because that gives me a little bit more perspective of the great need that we need in our community to come together and try to figure out something that works for everyone when it comes to a place to stay. So I've stayed here, I've been in Raleigh since September of last year for the last 10 to 12, we'll say like 12 years. I have been homeless on and off. Being a part of that community is definitely eye-opening, and you also get the experience of learning different ways that I've also had the opportunity to live in several places across the United States. I've lived in several states. So in those communities, I see them come together more often than not, and they figure out a way to where the community helps everyone that needs help. And being here in Raleigh, I have noticed that there are some things that we could definitely address that I feel like would greatly impact the community in a way that would start kind of bringing more of a positive focus into play with everyone involved. You know, I don't look at us as separate communities. This is all about us. This is one. We're all in this together. So some of the things that I was asked to address when it comes to, the situation where the homeless, which includes myself, where when we need, a place to lay our head, it doesn't have to be, 5-star resort type situation, because I know there's a stigma of, people assume that we're just pretty much looking for something for free. It goes deeper than that. There's mental health issues that many of us, from seeing firsthand, could never comprehend. Like, it goes bad. It's deep, and for us to have the compassion and resources that are needed to help our brothers and sisters, get to a better place in life, we need to work on some things. And I hope that me talking about these things kind of opens our eyes to what could possibly be ways for us to make our community stronger and to show our brothers and sisters who are going through a very difficult time, which we're all going through a difficult time. Please let that be known. I understand the world is a hot mess right now. So I get it. I do. I truly understand. Everything, it seems like, is just going insane, and I hope and pray to God that we get to a point where we come together as we should and can kind of make things, I know I'm not asking that it be like, we all sit around and sing Kumbaya, but like I feel like Raleigh has this like fire inside of them to want to make such a great impact and do things that are beneficial not only to themselves but to everyone. I can feel it. It's just we got to kind of get the ball rolling on that. So with that said, when I lived in San Diego, they had this system where there was like old parking lots that they converted into storage units for the homeless. Now, these storage units would be open from like Monday through Friday from like 8 to 5, and they used trash cans, like the commercial trash cans that you guys use to put your trash into. That's what they used to give each person who came there to use that for like storage. They gave them the trash can, then they would lock it up, and then they could access it from the time that they could. Now, the benefits of this is that when someone is in a situation and they're homeless, they can't take like their luggage with them to a job interview. They can't take their, they could, but it'd be very, very inconvenient. They can't take their luggage with them to go to a doctor's appointment or do the things that they need to do to get their life back on track and, hopefully get to a better place. So this is something that I hope, kind of sparks maybe an interest in, because honestly, there's so many places here in Raleigh that I see that aren't being used, like in terms of like parking lots and stuff like that, where not only does this help the homeless, but that creates jobs too. We need security, we need people to be able to run that place, and that, I see that as growth. So the second thing, here in Raleigh, there really isn't a place during the day where our brothers and sisters who are experiencing homelessness can't go to like a comfortable environment where they can just kind of relax and rest themselves, because a lot of the homeless are elderly people that are in wheelchairs and have walkers and are not able to move around and get around how we are expected to get around in order to survive throughout the day. So I proposed an idea of possibly finding a resource to where like a day center could be implemented, to where, I'm not gonna lie, I've heard some history about Raleigh and some places that were established prior that had several issues that they pretty much were closed down. But people who wanted to move into that area and build new homes, they saw they didn't want to deal with that issue. So those places that they used to have where, people that are suffering homeless, they can go just kind of relax. We do have Oak City, which is a great resource, and I'm very grateful that it is there. However, there's a level of compassion, a level of understanding, a level of just love that needs to be addressed, that I feel like after COVID, that the people who work at Oak City are burnt out. Like they're just tired of dealing with what they've been dealing with. And I get it, but at the same time, this is what if we want to make an impact in the community, this is the battle that we have to fight. And moving forward, it's not gonna help, it's gonna be able to help more people in the long haul to where, if we want people to be successful and have a chance to do something in this life in terms of getting a job, getting themselves stable with their health, just improving their life overall, we have to make sacrifices and we have to kind of push harder. And that includes myself. There's so many people in the homeless community that I wish y'all could just sit down and talk to, because they have these ideas that would just blow your mind of like how to just get things better, but their voices are rarely heard. So that's why I'm standing here. So a day center, I think, would be something to really work towards, to where that also creates jobs for people who would have to operate it, be able to do the security part, all of that good stuff. And if we get excited about it and just kind of, approach this with like, a good attitude, a positive attitude, these things can be accomplished. So the last, and this was also addressed with my sister who spoke prior to me, is the housing issue. I've lived in several cities where I see them implement, and I know I only have a couple of minutes to talk about all this. I could talk all night about what needs to be done and what resources are there. But the housing crisis seems to be a severe issue here in Raleigh. And I honestly don't even really know where to begin and where we would go. But I did want to address it and kind of put out there that, my testimony is that I go around Raleigh and I see all of these places, like empty houses, empty apartment, or not apartment buildings, but like old warehouses, several places for opportunity to house people who need housing, affordable housing. And I just kind of want to see where we could go with moving forward in that, to be able to, I know the housing market is crazy here in Raleigh right now. The price of everything is atrocious, and it's hard for people who are, middle class to even be able to afford an apartment themselves. People who, might have been successful prior to the pandemic are struggling themselves, so I get it. But definitely affordable housing and opportunities to get the homeless off the street to where we can give them a chance, even if we have to put the stigma aside that, they're going to cause issues and, all the stuff that arises with that. It's the same, if you weren't homeless and you were renting an apartment, there's rules and guidelines to it all. But that's just kind of what I wanted to put out there. I appreciate your time for listening. I hope that kind of gets someone's mind working, because I know that if we all come together and we work towards the greater goal of what we're trying to accomplish, we can do it. Anything's possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Now I'd like to invite forward Vicki Hewitt.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. What a beautiful sight it is to see all of you. Give yourself a round of applause for your participation. That's just great. As he said, I am Vicki Hewitt McNeil. I'm a member of One Wake and a leader of the property tax campaign that we've been working with for such a while. I find it very dear to me. My parents met at Shaw University. Without that, I wouldn't be here. And I grew up in historical Rochester Heights. And my son lives in that home right now. So that's that generation. I happened to be at a Raleigh Planning Academy workshop last night, and one of the presenters actually stated that one of the reasons that older people don't want to sell their homes is just that they want to keep them. Kind of perked my awareness, gave me a little attitude that people in these very important leadership roles truly don't understand the why of people wanting to keep their homes and leave their family homes to family members. That's such a legacy. But a member of One Wake has taught me to keep my attitude in check. So I did that, and I was a proud sister. For the last 2 years, we've been organizing with homeowners, well, it's been a little longer than that, to try and prevent displacement, secondary to rising house cost burdens, which include rising property taxes, utility payments, emergency repairs, and the other little tricks that present themselves in our lives that we don't know are coming. One Wake has organized hundreds of meetings with city and county representatives, attended meetings, spoken with council meetings, and won commitments from Wake County commissioners and Raleigh City Council members to address this issue. So far, we've won $5 million from Wake County commissioners and $1.6 million from the Raleigh City Council to address rising house cost burdens. Yay is right. Now, don't you dare think this has been easy. And it certainly is not what we want, because the threat of displacement remains, because the cost of property taxes, utilities, and repairs continue to rise. Moving forward, One Wake has the opportunity to continue this campaign and to draw on this new energy that surfaced during our listening campaign, and this new energy that's here in this room right now, regarding utility payments and the potential to take action to direct federal funds from recently passed Inflation Reduction Act. I'm going to repeat that again because that is hugely important. We can take action to direct federal funds from the recently passed Inflation Reduction Act to the homeowners who need them the most. It's not necessarily that you're going to qualify for them, but whoever can get this money in our community benefits us all, so let's work to do it. I ask you to talk about One Wake in your communities. This will entice people to ask questions and to possibly join. Whenever I'm at any meetings, I always find a way to bring up One Wake. I bring up the organization and what we do. We do great work, and we need to get every dollar that we can to help as many people as we can. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Vicki. And now I'd like to invite forward Paul Kelly.
Wow, good evening. My name is Paul Kelly, and I'm a parishioner at St. Francis of Assisi. I'm also a member of ICCT's Earth Friendly Practices team. And you can tell I'm not good, I'm new at this. And ICCT is Interfaith Creation Care of the Triangle. It's a collaboration of 40, actually 80 plus faith communities in the Triangle area. I've come to listening sessions, a number of them, this spring. And each time I ask 2 questions, and I'm going to ask them tonight. They were, first, do you know someone who struggles to pay utility bills? And the second question I asked is, did you or someone you know have their lights turned out and then had to go through the struggle of getting that turned back on? Well, I heard a lot of answers in those listening sessions, and frankly, it was very moving, heartbreaking, and actually made me pretty angry, too. I'd really like to lift up what I heard Vicki tell us about calling for affordable housing. But I'd like to add and suggest that affordable energy is a critical part of affordable housing. People with low income spend approximately 30% of their income on utilities, whereas average household spends like maybe 6%. That's quite a spread. We all know that energy costs are rising over the next 3 years by 19%. I don't know if you caught it, but WRAL did a series, and they interviewed someone from the North Carolina Utility Commission, a staff person, who said that the next rate increase, it was likely, probable, that utility costs would double. Think about that. So reducing energy costs benefits everybody. It creates jobs and, of course, lowers housing costs just to live. I would like to do something positive before I end tonight. And some of you either remember or have heard about the generational change that took place with the New Deal in the 1930s. It was transformational. Our country changed forever. And I have some good news. The legislation that was passed last year is 5 times larger than the New Deal. It is the largest investment that we've ever made in ourselves, in our children, and future generations. The legislation provides big opportunities for low to moderate households, both renters and homeowners, to lower energy use and cost. I think One Wake has a very important role in ensuring that those benefits are justly distributed. Again, I think that energy costs are a major part of affordable housing, and I'm excited, and I believe that One Wake can make an impact in helping that to happen. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Next, we have Deacon Joe Allen to talk about transportation.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Joe Allen. I'm from the eastern part of the county, over in Zebulon. Y'all are welcome to come over and have some fun with us when you get a chance. I want to start out with a question. How many of you feel that when there are transportation improvements, the work that's done is always late? When 540 was built, 440 was busting at the seams. When they got where they opened up parts of the road, then that part of the road was busting at the seams. And that's just one example. The transportation, as you saw from Reverend West's presentation, that it was the third item that we wanted to work on. So being from the eastern part of the county, we have tons of opportunity to make improvements in that area. And we've agreed with the leadership of Reverend Israel Stacker, EMA, that we're going to be doing investigations in the area to find out what other improvements we can make. We think, by the way, transportation offers so many outlets for going to different organizations to help us improve all the things that we're talking about here today. We're talking about housing. On every piece of land, it seems like in Wake County, there's a house or on it or about to be built on it. So in order to be able to get around, we need to have really, really good transportation. And we want to work on that. And a couple of things, I know in Wake County, in all counties probably, but especially in Wake County, there are a lot of baby boomers, a lot of seniors. I'm one. And seniors don't always like to drive. Like I got to drive home tonight to Zebulon. And if it's dark, I'm going to be a little nervous. Because as I get older, driving at night becomes an issue. Now, if I had another way to drive up here, get up here and get back and not have to drive and not have to call on somebody to drive me, that would be a good thing. So those are the kind of things we need to look at every aspect of transportation, make some suggestions to the folks who can help us make the improvements, get one weight behind it, and get some things voted in that'll make a difference in people's lives. Because it need to be an improvement. And the last thing I say before I do that is, before I sit down, is we want to get it to the point where we get things done before the need arises. And if we could do that, that makes everybody happy. So Wendell, Zebulon, Knightdale is the area that we're going to be working in. We know all parts of the county needs something done, and especially with the growth in Cary and Raleigh and Garner. What can we do to make improvements in all those areas so that we can get around in the county? I know there's a lot of venues that we have, especially in the summertime. People would love to go, but the transportation is so bad. If I'm in Zebulon, I'm gonna say, man, I ain't driving up there in that traffic. When the state fair is over here and the NC State football game and UNC is playing at the same time, it's a nightmare. And people could go to some of those things in a different way and get there safely and safely return. Take some of the cars off the road. And again, that's a big effort. But we got to take step one. Take step one, get it started, and then we can make improvements for everybody, not just in this county, but all surrounding counties. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of our testimonies this evening. I think all of you have given us an excellent summary of the things all of us have heard in listening sessions over the past 3 months. These are the things that are facing your neighbors. These are the things that are facing you. And these are the things we need to do something about, because that's why we're here. That's why all of us started One Wake. It's what brings us all here tonight. So we're going to vote here in a minute. And what's going to happen is you're going to vote by your institution. So we're going to have you caucus together. That's our organizing word for just circling up and deciding what to do. So you're going to do that together to vote what thinks reflects your institution's needs and your values. And I'll explain how exactly that's going to work in a moment, but a few caveats before we begin. First, the purpose of tonight is about focusing our power. There's a lot of power in this room, because power is organized people and organized money, and we've got these organized people in this room tonight. So tonight is to focus that power by picking a limited number of priorities. However, as we've all heard tonight, as we've all heard in our listening sessions, all of these priorities are interconnected. We have the ability to address multiple concerns at once. So in other words, if your issue does not get selected tonight, there is still the chance to work on that issue through the lens of one of the things that does get picked. As I mentioned before, there is a way to work on gun violence through housing. There is a way to work on education through mental health. There is a way to work on jobs through transportation. There's always a way to address the need that you feel foremost in the priorities we choose tonight. So, second thing, tonight we are not voting on campaigns. That would be to put the cart ahead of the horse a little bit. We are instead coming up with a short list of priorities that we will research and explore over the summer and turn them into tangible, winnable issues, campaigns that we can use our power to address. So you're voting on issues tonight. We're not voting on the individual campaigns. We want to spend more time researching and listening over the summer before we articulate specific campaigns. Finally, the last thing I'll say about that is that One Wake has saved all of the notes that you have sent us, not just the notes for the top issues. All of those notes are cataloged and saved, and research action teams will be reviewing all of those notes over the summer to understand all of the concerns that you've surfaced over the past 3 months. so none of those voices are forgotten after tonight. So voting. This is how voting is going to work. Every institution is going to get 3 stickers. These are your votes. 3 votes for every institution. After you have come to an agreement in your institutional caucus, in your little circle of folks who are here tonight, we request that you send one person over to the table back here. Devin and Stefan, can you raise your hands? You'll go back to Devin and Stefan, and you'll get your stickers, and you will go place them on the issue that your institution believes should be the top priorities for One Wake. You can place your stickers however your institution decides. If your institution is 110% about housing, you can put all 3 of your stickers on housing. You can put 2 on one on the other, however you want to divide your 3 votes, you can do that. We are also asking one more thing. There's another banner right around the corner over here near the exit sign, where we are asking whether you support continuing our listening campaign into the summer to make good on our pledged goal. Like I said before, we have over 40 institutions that are a part of One Wake. We need about 400 more people. That's 10 people in each of your institutions. I think we can all do that. So to indicate your support or not, please just bring a pen and make a check mark in the column that your institution is voting for. There's a yes and a no on the sheet over there. So I hope that's clear. Caucus as your institution. Decide what your 3 votes are. Then send someone to Devin and Stefan, and they will get your stickers and register your vote on the wall. And then send someone to vote on the yes or no question about the listening sessions over here. All right, let's get started. All right, everyone, don't panic. This is your 5-minute warning. You have 5 more minutes.
Hello? Good afternoon, everybody. If we could get everybody back at their seats. So again, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. As some of the other panelists have stated, we have power, collectively a lot of power. So my name is Jacques Cottrell, and I'm a core team leader from Cary First Christian Church. And I want to, first of all, announce the results of our vote. And our three main priorities are, number one is housing, number two is mental health, and number three is public transportation. So Leah, let's give ourselves an applause. Yeah, this is the culmination of 3 months of hard work. And now I just want to talk about what's next. Thanks to the hard work of all the listing campaigns over the last 3 months, now we have three main priority issues that's facing our community. And just mention those three issues: housing, mental health, public transportation. Our next job is to take these large, overwhelming issues and do the research necessary to break them down into winnable issues. We will do this through forming ad hoc teams that we call research action teams to work with One Wake strategy team and organizers to lead this research and to make actions proposals for approval by the One Wake membership. In addition, we will be research. Research will include organizing meetings with subject matter experts, as well as our proposed second round of listening sessions, which we all agreed upon, to better understand our experiences with these issues. The next phase of organizing will play out over the summer and into the fall. Research action teams with action proposals that connect to the fall municipal elections will be asked to bring proposals to One Wake Next Internal Assembly on August the 31st. So just want to reiterate that is the action proposals that will be connected or related to the fall elections. We want to address those by August the 31st. To bring those proposals to the assembly by August the 31st. Otherwise, all the other action proposals will be brought to the assembly by December the 1st. And there will be more information about the research action teams, and you can get information on the One Wake website. And everybody that signed up tonight will get more information about the research action teams as well. Our immediate next step is to better understand who is interested in each priority area. We will organize a series of interest meetings, one per issue, which will also include the necessary training to form a research action team. Just want to encourage everybody to go back to the table where Devin is located at, and there'll be some clipboards back there where everyone can sign up, based on whatever interest you are interested in. We'll also be sending out regular emails with opportunities to sign up as well. So again, just thank everybody for coming out. Just can't reiterate the power that we have and the difference that we can make. In my brief encounter and interactions, here with One Wake, I just see the difference that large numbers make, especially when we get in front of politicians and just unite together with the issues that keep us up at night. So again, just thank everybody for supporting this great organization, and just want to introduce Mary Kentz. She'll be coming up.
Thank you. My name's Mary Kentz, and I am a core team leader for One Wake at St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Cary. And first, I want to share my excitement about what I've seen tonight. Witnessing a successful vote on an agenda for the second round of action in our county. Anyone else feel excited about that? All right. You all know we're getting closer to the end of the evening, and I'm glad you're still with me here. This is great. My role tonight is to inform the One Wake membership about an opportunity to expand our capacity and ability to act across Wake County. Tonight, One Wake has voted on our next set of priorities that will guide our work together for the next few years. As we have heard, these priorities could lead to 5 or more new issue campaigns that will bring change to the top pressures facing our families and communities. If we want to fully realize the potential of our new agenda, we're going to need 2 things. The first is more leaders who are willing to organize their communities to act. I think we have some of those new leaders with us tonight, right here. As Jacques mentioned, we want every leader in the room and online to sign up to support 1 or more research action teams over the summer. The second thing we need is more staff organizers. One Wake currently has a skeleton staff of 2 2/3 organizers. That's 2 2/3 people to support 5 campaigns, not to mention training, membership recruitment, get out the vote efforts, and all of the other work that our organizers do every week. Our goal is to raise $60,000 this year to partially fund a new organizing position with One Wake in 2024. A new organizer will allow One Wake to take on more campaigns, train more leaders, and help support relational get-out-the-vote efforts during the crucial election next year, where we will not only elect a new president, but also a new governor, new county commissioners, and new members on the Raleigh City Council. We're looking for 100 people this year who are willing to give $25 a month to fund this new organizer. That's about a tank of gas. It's less than a tank of gas, right? That $25 a month will get us half of our money goal. But here's the exciting news. One Wake's parent network, Metro IAF, has agreed to match every new recurring donation that we collect this year, dollar for dollar. Right? Friends, that's called doubling the investment, okay? Our plan is to form a money team this summer. We're looking for a team of courageous leaders with self-esteem who want to develop their asking skills. Money team members will grow and develop as leaders in this process and will learn how to raise money not only for One Wake, but for anything. We are looking for at least 10 people to help lead and guide this effort. We are proposing an 8-week fundraising campaign that will officially kick off in late August and will conclude after the municipal elections this fall. But we don't have to wait. Consider tonight a soft launch for this campaign. All those who want to give can right now go to onewake.org/give or use the QR codes in the bottom right-hand corner of our priority sheets. Anyone who is interested in serving on our money team can sign up on the same clipboards that we're using for our research action team. If there's too long of a line to sign up tonight, you can also sign up online on the website when you get home. One last comment. I was hooked on One Wake when I realized we were talking about organizing to build relational power, the capacity to act with one another. Remember, we build this power with organized people and organized money, acting consistently and persistently to make a change. The people is only half of the equation. We also need the money. Thank you very much for your time. And now I'd like to introduce the Reverend Dr. James Kubal-Komodo from UU Fellowship of Raleigh as our final speaker. There you go.
Good evening, my friends. As Mary said, I am the Reverend Dr. James Kubal-Komodo, and I serve both as the lead minister at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Raleigh and on your strategy team. Wasn't this a wonderful evening? This spring, our member congregations and organizations engaged more than 1,600 people in listening sessions. Together, we listened to so many stories from ordinary people. Then our leaders sifted through these thousands of stories looking for commonalities and shared interests. And then this evening, grounded in the common values of our diverse traditions, we democratically voted, choosing the issues that we will research and work on together in the coming days, months, and even years. Affordable housing, mental health care, and transportation. This is not a top-down agenda. It is a bottom-up agenda that represents the voices of ordinary people, our voices. Why is this so important? Too often in this country, the voices of ordinary people, our voices, are ignored. The voices of ordinary people are ignored by elected officials. They are ignored in courthouses. They are ignored by the media, and they are ignored by large corporations. Too often in this country, backroom deals are made behind closed doors. Too often in this country, decisions are made that grossly benefit those who already have too much wealth and power. Yes, when our elected officials yield to the undue influence of the few who already have too much, we can hold them accountable by voting. But across this country, and especially in this state, too many elected officials are trying to make it harder to vote than ever. Even worse, gerrymandered districts are cracked, stacked, and packed with surgical precision to make sure that some voices are excluded from political decision-making, to make sure that some voices have more of a say than other voices, that some voices are more equal than others. A member of my own congregation, Becky Harper, challenged gerrymandering in North Carolina in a case that went first to the North Carolina Supreme Court and then to the U.S. Supreme Court and then back to the North Carolina Supreme Court. Unfortunately, this spring that case was decided in such a way that upholds gerrymandering and effectively robs millions of North Carolinians, millions of ordinary people of the right to have their voices be a part of our political process. What do you think of that? That's why what we're doing tonight matters. We are giving ordinary people their voices back. We are giving ourselves our voices back. We are giving ordinary people their voice back so our collective voices can be heard by city councils, by town councils, by the county commission, by the media, by large corporations, even in the State House, even in the halls of the U.S. Congress. That's right. This evening, we not only set an agenda, we also set an example of how decisions should be made in this country. We listen to ordinary people. But our work is far from over and danger lies ahead. When people talk about physical health, and when people talk sometimes about mental health, what do they say? They often use the phrase, use it or lose it. Meaning that if you don't exercise regularly, your body may start to decline. And if you don't try to keep on learning things, no matter how old you are, your cognitive ability may start to decline. But the same thing could be said about democracy in this country. Use it or lose it. So I have a question for you. Do you want to lose democracy? Do you want to lose your voice in decisions that affect our own individual lives as well as the common good of this world we share? Okay, then let's keep on using it. Let's keep on using it like we used it tonight. Let's keep on using it as we advocate for affordable housing, more access to mental health care, and more equitable and sustainable transportation. In the days ahead, when the time comes to show up, are you going to show up? In the days ahead, when it comes time to stand up, are you going to stand up? In the days ahead, when the time comes to speak up, are you going to speak up? Good. Then let's keep on showing up, standing up, and speaking up for ourselves, for our most vulnerable neighbors, for the common good of this world we share, until our voices are heard far and wide, from Apex to Zebulon, from Angier to Wake Forest and beyond. So may it be. Amen. Thank you for being here this evening. Drive safely home.